to another edition of Talking Footy, the third edition. We're going to talk about the All-Australian 22 and what a schmozzle that fucking was. We're going to talk about the rising star, the teams that did not make the finals. We're going to talk about, how they did during the season and where we can see them improving. And as always, from the top, we're going to our main man, Russo's bloody fucking rager. Russ, what has got you annoyed at this time, at this point of the week?
Okay. All right. So Damien Barrett, he did the 30 most memorable moments of the final series. Now, memorable moment. What does a memorable moment mean to you? A memorable moment is something that sticks in everybody's mind. So even if you don't go for the club, it's something you remember. Correct?
Correct.
So
yeah.
I'm going through the top 10. I'm thinking, Leo Barry will be probably in the top 3. Like maybe the toe poke or something will be in the top 3. So I'm going through. I click on the video, right? And I fucking see number 1 is a moment that I have never heard of in my life. Darren fucking Jarman. I don't know. I actually don't know what he's done. He's kicked a few goals. I mean, like, good on him, mate. Like, you kicked a few goals. Do I have any idea what it is? No. Is it a memorable moment? No. Adelaide supporters have got to remember, yes, he's kicked a few goals, but is it going to stick in everyone's mind? No, they're not. You got to remember, it's got to be those like little moments, those one moments that happen, a mark, a toe poke, things like that people remember. Not when someone kicks 5 or 6 goals or whatever. Like, it's just, yeah, I think it's a bit dumb, but oh well. I respect Damo. I like him, but yeah, don't rate him for that at all. That's a
real type of Caro number 1 there.
Caro's arrows, yeah.
Caro's arrow. I did watch the top 30 as well, and when it got to number 1, I was very questionable. I'm just like, actually,
did you even know about? I didn't even know about that.
No.
So yeah, interesting. Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah, like I had a flick through of like the articles that they sort of uploaded about it, and reading through them. I think I struggled like you did, Russ. I mean, like he's pit, and how we all know how Chloe feels about DB. But anyway, like if you're pinning, like you said, if you're pinning something as memorable moments, he's got like players being like, oh yeah, they had like one really strong quarter in the grand final. Like, mate, that's almost every fucking player on the team. You're picking, like you said, those things that really stand out in a grand final, like. Where, like, you mentioned the grand final, that's the first thing that pops into people's heads. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was just like a bullshit list.
Yeah. And, like, Dom Sheed was number 2. Like, I think that's a really good moment, but I don't even know that about that being number 2 as well, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I know Nick Davis's one was in the semi-final, but I reckon probably Nick Davis's one could have been number 1, I reckon. That's one that, like, everyone knows. Like, no one does not know about that moment.
Yeah.
My most memorable one was, 08 grand final when a bloke that weighs 100 kilos turned it on in the third quarter.
That is a moment. Stuart Drew's, I will never forget. That's one I will never forget. Stuart Drew's 5 minutes. That was memorable.
Who knew a bloke that weighed like 110 kilos could put a clinic on like that?
In the heat as well.
It was very hot that day.
Yeah, very hot that day.
Yeah, so I love that from you, Russ, and I think we're going to take down Channel 9 as well. We've got a couple of people in our sites, one being Sam McClure, another being Caroline Wilson as well, basically copying our fucking segments.
Yeah, I'm not happy with
our
Sam.
Segments.
I had to phone up Sam during the week.
He's
stealing our ideas.
I let him know.
He's stealing all our ideas. Like, we said, oh, yeah, we'll do a season review of the teams that didn't make the finals. Then I watched the Footy Classified and they start doing it. What are you doing, Footy Classified? Stop stealing my shit.
Oh my God. Yeah. Who's tapping into our feed, man? That's what I want to know.
I know. Someone's spying on us. Someone's either spying on us or going behind the group's back, I reckon. No wrongs.
Yeah, no wrongs. Rob, the one you least suspect. He's the one you... Get back to my message, Rob's your dog. Anyways, yeah.
Stop leaving me on red, Rob.
Oh, man.
Mate, that's some humour that no one else is going to get, apart from, like, Rob's.
That's great. That's cool.
Love
that. Right. Shall we move on to the All-Australian team now?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, let's go.
And do you have it handy by any chance, Beach? Do you have it up?
I can get it up. Yeah, I can, for sure. I can get it up.
Can you get it up for us, mate? We'll do the
Then we
We'll
could.
give the,
Then we can-
analysis. We've got a lot to say about the All-Australian team.
that's
We're not
it.
happy. Obviously, there's been a bit of an outcry with some of the positional decisions by the match committee. So
Yeah. All right, I got it up. Here we go. All right.
All right, let's go.
All right. So we'll discuss it once we're done, or we can discuss it while we go because I'm not fucking angry about it.
So, you know what? Just chuck the whole list down, and then we'll tear it to shreds. How's that?
Okay. So lining up off the back line, we have Brad Shepherd in the back pocket. We've got Harris Andrews, Luke Ryan, Nick Haynes, Darcy Moore, Darcy Byrne-Jones.
Darcy Byrne-Jones.
Across the middle, playing 4% on the wing, we got Jackson McRae. In the middle, we got Travis Boak. And playing 17% time on the wing all year, we got Cam Guthrie. Across the half forward line, we've got 99% time midfielder, Patrick Dangerfield, and Marcus Bontebelli, as much as they do go forward for maybe 1% of the game. Charlie Dixon up forward, Liam Ryan, Tom Hawkins, and Dusty Martin in Dan Butler's pocket. Questionable. Nick Nat in the ruck. We got Christian Petrarca as a follower and Lockie Neal. On the bench, we have Max Gawn, Caleb Daniel, Jack Steele, Taylor Adams, and the captain of the side is Patrick Dangerfield.
Lord, give me strength. So for those of you playing at home, in summary, we have, a 22-man all-Australian squad with 10 midfielders, 7 defenders, 3 forwards, 2 ruckmen, and no wingmen.
Absolutely ridiculous.
All right, let's start with the back line first. All right, I'll just start with the back line. So I agree with most of the back line, but Darcy Byrne-Jones, deserved to be in the 40. I'll give him that one. But how can you start him on over Caleb Daniel?
Thank you.
I don't get that. Caleb Daniel is the best kicker in the AFL. How can you not have him on the field? I don't get it. I don't know if you guys agree, but I don't understand how he's not on the field.
Oh yeah. There were 9 cooks in the kitchen. There were 9 people in the lineup trying to choose his team, and 9 of them have not put their brains together to make one collective brain. So you could have had 5 of them make decisions, but no, we have to get Kevin Bartlett in. We have to get all these other numpties in as well.
Warren Treadray, bloke, stick to kicking goals in the forward line, yet you're not even naming forwards, you cockhead.
Yeah, and they're not numpties. I think I was a bit harsh there, but you know what I mean.
Mate, Matthew Richardson's a nothing.
He's a bit of a nut.
He just needs to give up commentating full stop. I really think Ridley was hard done by not to make the 22. I feel like for a guy that took, he was second or third in interception marks across the half back line, compared to Darcy Byrne-Jones that loves his little cheap kicks. I don't see why Ridley doesn't make that. I think Ridley goes bench, and like you said, Caleb Daniel on the bench is just an insult.
Yeah. So I almost reckon Haynes shouldn't have got in the 22 either. He hasn't really been that good this year. I reckon Ridley and Daniel should be on over Darcy Byrne-Jones and Nick Haynes, to be honest.
Nick Haynes was number 1 in interception mark, so
probably why I think. But Nick Haynes also, his side finished outside the 8, so usually that goes against you, I guess. But
they were discussing today at SEN. They were saying they base it off the teams that do well. And as much as I hate Richmond, only one Richmond player made it, which it doesn't if you're basing it off that, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's definitely a very good point.
Yeah, I think Darcy Moore. I think he does deserve to make it. He had a really good start to the year, but I think I know you Carlton supporters maybe not, but I think Wiedering was a good potential to go in. I feel like he barely lost a 1-on-1 all year.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think I'm not sure in the disposal difference. But I reckon Moore will get more possessions, which would be one of the reasons. So
I'd have to agree. Watching, the games that I have, Wiedering, yes, he was good, but I think more, even though he was quiet towards the end of the year, he was probably still more influential. He stepped up when it mattered, sort of thing, and I think he did quite well in keeping whoever he was on pretty quiet during the matches that he played on them.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of Maynard as well? Do you reckon he was hard done by?
Very hard done.
Oh, absolutely. I reckon he was.
I don't know. I reckon everyone got a bit sucked into the hype with Maynard. He's a pretty good player, but
48, yeah, but that's
I
the
don't
thing.
think he's a great player. Like he's a good player to me. That's it. But, yeah.
I thought he had a better season than Burn Jones, but then Burn Jones didn't have a better season than say Ridley. Like Ridley was like literally their back line. Like he was one of the guys.
There's so many other people that could have made it, which is why I don't think Maynard should have made it, because there's others that like Ridley should obviously be. So yeah.
But this is what we were talking about on what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember which day we did it. But, it's like, what are you choosing the All-Australian team for? Is it to verse someone else, or are you just choosing a team of the best 22 players in that year? So,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not probably choosing Burn Jones in my 22 to verse someone else. I'm going to choose one of the other guys, like a Ridley or...
Yeah, exactly. Also, what do you guys reckon about Blitzav's not making it as well? I reckon he was a bit unlucky. Because I reckon, like, I don't know, I was listening to, again, I'm going to bring up SCN again. I'm mentioning SCN as well. But, like, he's literally, like, he's Mr. Fix-It. Like, he could play backline, he could play wing, he could play ruck. Like, he could play everywhere. So, I personally would, I want to put him on the bench, probably instead of, I probably would have put Max Gawn on and put him on the bench, because we'll bring it up later, but I think Ruckwood was a poor choice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I thought Blitzav was... The thing with him is, I feel like he's too underrated. I feel like he's too... underrated, sorry. He's too, like... He'll do jobs, and then it's like he doesn't do it with too much sort of flash. It's sort of like how Stephen May did this year. Like, Stephen May didn't have a lot of goals kicked against him, but like, you didn't see it like... It's not like flashy sort of play, which is probably why he didn't get picked, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I just think Blitzav's good, because not even if he's good in one position, he can play all different positions. Like, if I was picking a 22 that I wanted, I'd be certainly picking him. But...
Oh, no, 100%.
There was a team released today on the Triple M Footy page on the team that can get picked that didn't get picked in the normal All-Australian, and their backline lined up Grimes, Jonas, Maynard, Ridley, Wiedering, and Voston.
Yeah,
that's a pretty solid backline.
Got better, like, so.
So, moving on to the midfield, we had McRae on the wing, Guthrie on the wing, and Boak in the middle. Boak I agree with, but the other two, I feel like there was a lot of rage towards those two getting picked.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I can't understand why
they're not wingmen.
Menengola and Guthrie probably had a similar year, I think, but Menengola plays on the wing, Guthrie doesn't. So why do you pick Guthrie over Menengola? Like, I don't understand that. I really don't get it.
Yeah, McRae's a great player. Don't get me wrong, and probably unlucky to get like good that he got picked, and they probably didn't have a spot to put him in, I guess. But I think he deserves to make it, that's for sure. But does he start on the wing? Probably not. No.
You probably prefer a Gaff over him on the wing for sure.
Yeah, or put because Taylor Adams played most midfield. But and then if you look at the team that didn't get picked, you got this is better. You got McCluggage, Pendlebury, and Gaff.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, much better. Yeah. Who would you guys rather? Would you rather McCluggage, or would you rather what's his name? Who did we just say? Menengola.
I'd rather Menengola.
I'd say
McCluggage too.
I'm with Jez. I'd say Menengola.
I just rate Menengola. Just this year, he just stood up. Like he was.
Yeah, I think Menengola's really stood up this year. I reckon he's been probably Geelong's most consistent midfielder.
Oh yeah, like he.
I think they, as much as they both play in the wing, they both play different roles on the wing. Menengola likes to push forward, kick some goals, where McCluggage is really that. With that run that the Brisbane need, and that really good ball usage as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Menengola is definitely a bit slower, for sure.
Yeah.
That probably explains why they'd work. Sorry. That probably explains why they would work well together in a team too. Like, can you imagine having those two on the wing? You've got one, who can kind of play either way. It'd be seriously like, imagine the chain of plays that you'd be having between those two. Seriously.
Yeah, that's right. For sure.
Crazy. Half forward line. You got Dangerfield, Dixon, and Bontempelli. Sorry, Jez got me. Dangerfield, Bontempelli, and Dixon.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Love the Bont. Until this year, he could not plant a set shot to save his life. Seriously. Like, every time he
11 goals this year as well, by the way. Just before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when he gets it, at least been socking them through. But he's not a forward player. He's an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore him. I love watching him. But he is not a forward.
Yeah.
Can't get any clearer than that.
Yeah, exactly. See, I don't mind Dangerfield in the forward line. I think because he actually pushes forward sometimes, and
Exactly, that
he
makes
does
sense.
get some goals. But Bot probably, I don't know Bot's stats, but I'd say he at least plays 85% of midfield time, like a minimum.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like
At least.
players like Dusty and Bont only push forward when I feel like the team's struggling for a goal or they need the X factor to go forward.
Yep.
But like I said in the chat, you have Butler and who did I say? Butler and Hapley kicking 54 goals combined, and then you got Dusty, Bontempelli, Dangerfield kicking 37 combined. So it's a huge, huge difference, and there's 3 players on 2. So I do struggle to understand how moving on the half or the full pocket line, Ryan, Hawkins, and Martin, but I don't understand how Papley doesn't make it. I don't understand how Butler doesn't make it. So
I don't know. Like we said this the other week, I still don't think Butler should have made it, but I think Papley should have been in over Martin. Like Martin hasn't done a lot this year. Like he is impactful. Don't get me wrong. Like he does impact games, but he hasn't really been that consistent this year. Like he does step up in the big moments, but I don't think he was good enough to make the All-Australian team this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was only Papley's second half of the season that sort of cooked him a little bit. Like he was really good that first half of the season. He was like dominating.
Yeah, and it makes it hard as well because like Sydney had no key forward all year, so like he's got the best defender on him every week. So it's always going to make life hard for him. So so he did have a much better year next year, I reckon.
The forward line that didn't get picked is Papley, Gunston, Menengola, Butler, Taberner, and Butters. Very good forward line, I think.
So they're playing Menengola. This fucking team.
I don't agree with the Menengola for sure.
I don't understand
that. Danger. No Butler. Where is he? I don't know where he is. He's not in the team. He was actually good. Oh, no.
And then followers, you've got... I agree with Liam Ryan and Hawkins. I think they've been...
Liam Ryan is fucking really good.
100%.
Liam Ryan killed it this year.
He's a star.
And then followers, you've got Nick Nat, Petrarca, Lockie Neal. I can understand why Nick Nat got the start because a lot of coaches were saying during the year that the problem in playing West Coast is every time you kick goal, you're back to the middle. And Nat Nui is that ruckman that influences game. And don't get me wrong, Gawn does as well. But when you got a bloke leaping and got the tapping ability to put it on a platter for Shuey and Kelly and Sheed to run through, like it just changes the whole aspect of the game.
Yeah, so that's fair enough. But like, I agree with that. Like, but the problem is that he only plays about 60-65% of game time still. Yeah. And then so that's why I thought they probably should have put Blixas in over Gawn. It's like you're not going to play if you're actually making this as a team to play on the field. You're not going to play Natanui and Gawn because Gawn doesn't play forward and Natanui doesn't play forward either. So that would honestly mean they're going to have a 50-50 split. And like, why would you want that why would you want that? I just don't understand it. But.
Yeah. And then you got Petrarca and Neal, both had very outstanding years. Be both very up there in the votes as well.
Well, yeah, you could say Lockie Neal's won the Brownlow.
Lockie Neal's won the Brownlow by a country.
Yeah, unless something happens that is just extraordinary.
Yeah, he's
won the Brownlow. So and he won the MVP last night, I believe. So he's had a good year. Lockie Neal.
And then
he won something else last night too. I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to go back. I actually can't. I can't
remember. On the team that didn't get picked, it's Blitzarves, Oliver, and Fife.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fife didn't make it. Like he didn't have. I still think he's probably. I reckon when he's fit, he's probably the top 3 best mids in the comp by far.
Oh yeah.
But he was clearly lingering a bit this year. He did have a few weeks off, so enough.
I agree with that. And then finally finishing up, we had Gawn on the bench, Caleb Daniel, Jack Steele, Taylor Adams. So I feel like Caleb Daniel starts.
Yeah.
I feel like the rest is probably about right. Jack Steele had an outstanding year. It's good that he made it.
For sure.
But yeah, I feel like the rest of that's pretty spot on, I reckon.
Yeah, I still don't think Gawn should have made it, but anyway, that's a debate for another day. I don't agree with the two ruckmen, but.
Well, yeah, like you said, if they're going to verse someone, you're not going to put one as you said, both ruckmen can't play forward, and both of them can only play ruck, so you're not going to put both of them in the 4 line.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I think, like, if you're picking Dananua, you pick Blixabs because at least he can pitch it in the ruck.
Yeah,
and then he
that's
can
a
play
very
back
good
line
point.
as well. But
Yeah. I reckon Tom DeConning was pretty stiff to miss.
Oh dear.
I'll
so
say
good
it.
choice raised. Very
The
good
first,
choice raised.
the first game he played, like, he was such a fucking spud, and then he actually like started playing alright. He's just the biggest spud, so, and he's maybe future years.
Yeah. Well, that's the All Australian team for you. Obviously, there's a lot of players on Twitter getting pretty heated with their comments, but why forwards aren't getting properly picked and all that, and that's our anger towards that for you. But yeah, that's it for another year for all Australians. But yeah, let's move on to the rising stars.
Yeah, so that obviously Callum Sarong win it, which was really good. Noah Anderson came second. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm waiting on Beach.
You're on track so far.
They're in the top five, Beach.
Just guess your way through it. We'll see how you go.
Oh, so yeah, Sarong Anderson.
Plays for St Kilda next one.
Come on, mate.
Oh, I was going to say ranking fourth, and then...
Yeah, who's third?
I'm actually blanking on names.
You were giving him a big rap the other day, and you've forgotten him now.
I'm actually blanking on names.
He's a forward. Took Rewalt's number.
Oh, Max King, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then Will Day finished fifth, which, as a Hawk supporter, I'm absolutely buzzing over because he only played 11 games. So...
Yeah, and I find it nuts how Max King came third. Like...
who else is there though, Jez? Like, there's not really
you know one, yeah.
Like, who else actually is there? Like, I'm actually not sure. Like,
well, if Will Day plays,
Rankin shouldn't have got fourth, but then I was thinking about it. Like, I'm not really sure who else could have got fourth. Like, maybe Will Day could have got fourth, but as Ben said, he only played half the season. So,
yeah.
Actually,
I was saying to mate today. Actually, I said I wouldn't be surprised after. I know Real obviously didn't really come anywhere close to winning it. Obviously, if he plays the whole season, he probably pulls more votes than Walshy. But I was saying to him that in the Brownlow coming up, I genuinely think after his first game when they got belted against Port, I reckon he's got 9 votes over the next 3 games.
Oh yeah, yeah. I reckon he was easily best on ground.
He was best on ground for the next 3 games by mile.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was. Yeah, so 100%.
Yeah, I don't know who else could have come in there, but yeah, I'm not too sure.
Well, Ben King, who else was there? There's be a ton more, but actually, I'm surprised Ben King. I don't know how many votes he got, but
yeah, maybe I was right. Maybe he's a spud.
I'm actually like, you actually look at it like Rankin came 4th. It's like, well, who else is there?
But then it comes down to. Then it comes down to delivery into the forward line as well. When you got classy midfielders, giving it into you makes a huge difference. So if you got blokes like Pendlebury kicking it into Ben King, and he's marking the ball, kicking goals, he automatically goes up. So for a forward, I feel like it's hard to win. Easier for a midfielder to win. Obviously, Walshy 1 year, and then you got Sarong this year, both on ballers. So. I'm not really surprised at a win then.
Exactly. And speaking of Sam Walsh, he got the best.
I saw that. Yeah, I did.
2 year whatever. I'm not sure what the award was actually called, but he was like the best young player in the first season. He won that by about 30 votes. So yeah, won that one quite comfortably. So I was happy about that. The Blues actually won something. So it's good. We don't get many wins. So
finally,
yeah, got to get excited about something. So
yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, that's
about that.
Rising stars. So it's important because you love to see the youth, but it's not that important as well at the same time. So
yeah, like we were talking about on the chat. So for our dear viewers, so we ended up sending a screenshot to each other of like the last 20 years of Rising Stars, and only probably a handful of them, if that, had actually made any impact on the game after they got that award. So like Ben said, it's fun to watch and to keep an eye on, but not really the strongest indicator as to who, the great players of the game are going to be.
And some players are going to mature later than others. And you look at
Yeah,
and
it's
one of Peter's favourite players who won the award, Reece Palmer. He didn't really do much after that. He went to the Giants and he came to us. And he is a good bloke.
he came to the Blues. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
because I remember
Jeez.
it was him, Dill Buckley, and those sorts of guys. I think Nick Rain was there as well. A couple of good.
Mate, those were the
What do
days.
you line up?
Yeah,
And
Northern
Big Dan.
Blades.
Don't forget the Big Dan, mate.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
the karate kick goal.
G-Man. G-Force.
Yeah, well, that's kind of all there is to that. Russ, is there any news on the trade rumors? Do you have anything on the trade rumors, Russ?
Right, mate. So we got obviously Ben Brown, who's he has North Melbourne shopping him around. So yeah, that's interesting. His manager got Aaron Manassis. I'll just find the quote. Aaron Manassis today actually, his manager got interviewed today on SEN, and he was actually saying that Ben Brown actually wanted to stay at North Melbourne. So yeah, they've told him to leave. So
yeah,
like he's literally said he's found that staggering. He just can't understand it, and I can't understand it either. Like I don't get it. Like he was the best full forward in the comp for 3 years, had one bad year. Yeah. Like they want to take a different direction. Like I know you want to rebuild and get young players, etc. But wouldn't you want to build your team around a player like that? I don't really understand it.
Yeah, I heard something quite funny on Facebook, and someone said it doesn't help Ben Brown's case when you got under 12 E-grade delivery coming into the forward line. When you got bulls like Jed Anderson, who can't kick a ball for his life, and they got Wiggins. They got Higgins coming off half back.
Might as well be Wiggins.
You got no good ball deliveries. You got Jack Zeeble. He's a donut. He can kick a ball high and long, and that's it. But when you got no good delivery coming in, what else do you expect your forward to do?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's hard. Like I hope he goes to a good club. He deserves it. Like he's a good player. So
I don't know what.
I haven't really heard who's interested in him yet. I haven't really heard that far, but
I feel like Collingwood would be interested, and I feel like the Bulldogs might be interested as well. Because
Ben Brown would be all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain. We need a solid, big forward for once.
Yeah, I mean Bruce is a bust, so.
Bruce, he just hasn't had a good season.
It's so hard. Like I feel sorry for him because there's times where he plays and I'm like, oh yeah, like you're actually trying, but then he just does something stupid.
The bloke missed from the goal square against Hawthorn 2 years ago.
Yeah,
from the goal square. He's a donut. He's a donut.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah, like I'm happy to see him do maybe like one more season or something, just to see if it's like an adjustment period sort of thing or whatever. Because like watching him, I'm like, oh, you've got potential. And like you said, like when he was at the Saints, he was relatively solid. So hopefully he has a good, well, like depending on how we go in finals, I guess. But hopefully he has like a really strong preseason, works on some stuff, and can come out swinging next year. And then and if not, then ship him off as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just give him another year and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Like, I think he's just, I know Beach jokes about it. He's obviously a donut, but I think he needs a bit more time just to just give him another year, and if he shoot well, that's it for him.
Yeah.
But
I think him and Billy Gower should get sent back to the under 12s, to be honest.
I'd be much more willing to lose Gow. I'd be much more willing to lose Gowers than Bruce, just because Gowers has been around for a couple of years now. He plays like one good game a season, if that. Like, no, I'm not here for that. I would like some consistency in the team that I follow, please.
Yeah, and I just don't get back to North. I just don't get their MO in getting rid of Brown. Like, it makes no sense. Like. So you're going to pick up Aiden. So literally they've lost out on everyone except for Aiden Core, who they want to get. And if Aiden Core, they don't get Aiden Core, then who are they going to get? Like, it's not like
Aiden Core is even that good anyway.
He's not that good. Yeah. He's not. He's not the Messiah.
Well, they picked up Pollock maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
They paid over.
And they're saying to him, "See you later, mate. We don't want you no more."
Yeah, problem with Pollock is though he's still got a lot of money, so he's still contracted. So I reckon he might actually have to stay. Like I think he's going to end up staying. I'm not really sure who's going to want him. Like, and then they'll have to negotiate a deal between like both clubs who's going to pay what salary. So that'll be that'll be interesting.
Mm.
And yeah, also Sean Higgins as well. He looks like he's looking around as well. So he's still got 2 years left of his contract though. So
Yeah.
that's
I wouldn't be
that's
surprised if he lands at Geelong or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, he'd fit in well to Geelong for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm just shocked with just North, just the culture there, just everything there. Like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes there that is not good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. We'll see how they go. Like they've got still some players they've got some young players that are all right. So how do you know? Like you really never know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't think they watched Jared Pollock play footy. Like if they were offering the amount of money they did, like I don't think they actually watched him play the game of footy. Like I don't think he was that good where he warranted that amount. I think I said this on Tuesday as well, but I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Ross was basically like, just to sum up, Ross was pretty bang on. Like Ben Brown's been a solid forward for a few years. He has one bad year and now they want to get rid of him. It just doesn't make sense, especially after, because I think it was a couple years ago, there was some trade rumors swirling around him, going elsewhere, whatever. And the whole time Brown was just like, no, like, I'm loyal to North. I'd really love to be, that like one club player sort of thing. So for them to just toss him, it's really strange, honestly. I feel like there's got to be more to it somehow, seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always more to it. It's never a done deal until it's done. You just don't know.
That's it.
Like midway during last year's trade period, all we knew that Papley was coming to Carlton, Danaher was going to Sydney, and then Essendon fucked that up. So
true.
Like it's until it's done, it's not done. So
exactly right. Yeah,
what you do is sit like he's entertaining watching all the rumors fly around. Kind of keeps you busy. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Also came out today. Jack Graham is he's going to stay with the he's staying with the Tigers. So
big.
Yeah, he's not coming to the Blues. I don't even know. Like, has he been playing much this year? I'm not even sure.
He's played a few games for him. I'm pretty sure.
A couple of games.
But when he plays, he's always a very solid contributor. He's that bull midfielder that can go forward, kick goals. It's like, I think he's a very good talent. So
yeah. I agree. And he's still quite young as well. He's only 22 years old. So
yeah, that's right.
Like Richard would definitely want to hang on to him. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Another rumor was going around with Jack Gunston going to Collingwood. Gunner's still got 2 years on his contract. Finished third in the Coleman. So if Pies want him, I feel like they need to offer up pretty big for him. But they've still got a few guys that haven't signed on. Josh Dacos hasn't signed on. And I don't know what the go is with Darcy Moore and DeGoey.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, people just make up all these crap rumours. Like, why would Gunston leave Hawthorn anyway? Like, seriously.
No,
like, I don't understand. Like, why would he want to leave? Like, I think, did he play at all your premierships? Oh, he played. He played. He's been there with 3 flags. Like, why would you leave? Like, I reckon he'll stay loyal. I think he'll stay at the Hawks.
Yeah, unless he gets shoved out like what Sammy Mitch and Geordie Lewis and Jay Ruff kind of, and Hodgie kind of what happened to them.
Yeah. No, he's still young anyway. Like, he's only 28, so he's still got about 4 years left in him at least. So. Yeah. I think he'll stay. I think you need him. You need that experience in the forward line. He's a good kick for goal. So
yeah, I won't be surprised if Hawthorn do offer up some players. I'm not too sure who they are. I wouldn't be surprised because I feel like after the progress with the young stars that we had late season and the positives that came out of that, I feel like Clarko's finally got it in his damn ass head that we got to start playing youth. So
yeah, you got to play youth. Yeah, and I reckon you got to go to the draft this year as well. Get some more young kids in too.
Yeah, fourth pick, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, that's what I mean. I wouldn't be surprised if we give away players for some more draft picks as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, get some good players in there.
Also, Essendon and Andy McGrath's just signed a 2-year deal, which is they've actually got a player wanting to stay for once.
Good for them. Yeah,
what's going on?
For them.
Everyone wants out, and he's staying. So
yeah, great signing.
He'll be their captain for about soon enough. So
yeah, I'll put him as captain.
I feel like that's a really good signing for them. He's a gun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's a really good player. So definitely worthy of the number 1 pick. Like, I remember at the start, everyone was sort of unsure, but no, he's definitely worthy of a number 1 pick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm.
Well, there you go.
Alrighty, should we get into teams who didn't make finals?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about that.
Kick us off. Anyone?
Oh,
Alrighty, I've got to get the ladder back open now.
yeah, I've got.
All right, I'll start us off. All right, we've got Adelaide. Adelaide, obviously 18th, 3 wins, 14 losses. Poor Matty Nix. That's all I can say really. He's tried hard all year. Like, he got to the point where he had to make players move water bottles around. So that's how much the poor bloke was struggling. Like, I honestly felt bad for him. Like, I remember when they played, I don't know if anyone watched this game. I think it was about around 12, 13 when they played North Melbourne. And North Melbourne was better by about 70 points. So I was just
was not good. I watched the minutes.
These players going absolutely nowhere. Like, they just look like shambles. But to be honest, after that loss, they actually did turn it around a bit. So they did really well. Like, they had a good win against the Giants. They bet your mob there, they bet the Hawkers, and they bet the Blue Boys.
We genuinely played them into form.
Yeah, which is what we love to see. So they're a few good young players. So there's some optimism there, which is good. So
yeah, and the thing is, well, they've got big Riley O there as well. So
he's good.
Stats wise, I think he was like the 3rd or 4th best ruckman this year. So. And he's quite young, so if they can obviously keep him around with a developing midfield, and hopefully they can hold on to players like Brad Crouch on this off season. They've got a lot of young players that played well this year, and I think they'll be better next year. I think so. Yeah,
and like, speaking of Brad Crouch, Brad Crouch got interviewed the other day, and he said Adelaide actually still hasn't offered him a contract yet. So
interesting.
That's an interesting one. I'm not sure why they wouldn't want to, like, they need him there, like, badly.
Yeah.
Like, he's in that, like, sort of like that middle. I think he's about our age, so he's in that sort of bracket now where he's got to be like at his best. So I think they'd want to keep him, like, badly.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, not much to add to what you guys have said, honestly. Sorry, go Jez.
No, I'm just saying, like, September specialists, obviously they won free in September, so we love that from the Crows. And yeah, like, I think they just played themselves into a number 1 pick. So I don't think they were as bad. Like, they were bad. They were bad, but they weren't as bad in the second half of the season as people would think. Like, they were competitive in games, and yeah, that North game was not.
Which they should be competitive. Like, they're not that bad. Like, they've got some decent fielders. They've got, like, you look at how bad. Think of, like, I just think of Carlton's list about 15 years ago. If you looked back on Carlton's list from 15 years ago, you would not know 90% of those players. But at least with Adelaide, they have like 7 or 8 players. And you think, like, they're actually pretty good. So they should at least be competitive in their games. So it was good to see they got better. Like, you never want a team getting smashed every week.
Yeah, I think Taylor Walker. And I think Taylor Walker also goes out. He might get shoved out of that side sooner rather than later. Like, he's not looking too good in terms of, like, that side in terms of setup and stuff. But I don't know where they're at in terms of where they want to go.
I feel like they might stick around for maybe 1 more year. Just only purely kind of what Burgoyne's doing at Hawthorn, purely based on, and what Eddie's doing, purely based on just mentoring the young fellas.
Yeah. I think Taylor Walker's a good mentor. Like, I actually feel bad for him. Like, everyone gives him a lot of shit, but, like, he was a really, really good player for about probably 5-6 years. And, like, honestly, when your team's shit, you got to struggle a lot more. So, like, it's always harder for the forwards in a shit team, like with Ben Brown. Like, it's always going to be more difficult. So
yeah. Well, and now he's the leading goal kicker at Adelaide. So
yeah, exactly. Like, people care him all the time. But, you know, he's a gun. Like, he's a really good player.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Adelaide too. They struggled a lot at the first half of this year after all that stuff came out about them, about their culture and, you know, the really brutal, like, training camps they used to have and how all that was sort of done. And I feel like that didn't get as much attention in terms of how it was impacting their playing either. And I feel like, you know, having that all out in the open and, you know, a lot of young kids running around and it just didn't gel for them. But then, like you boys have said, it was good to see at the second half of the season how they were really coming out, you know, playing competitively. So, yeah, like, you know, despite the fact that they sort of by maths have to do better next year, at least in terms of, like, the ladder, I think it'll actually be good to see them going out and playing some good footy and working on their form. So that'll be an interesting one to see next year.
Yeah, nice.
Good with that.
All right, moving on to North Melbourne, 17th, 3 wins as well. I
Yeah,
think
struggling.
we set it up about North. They're shambles.
Yeah.
Majak, speaking of North, sorry, just one more point. Majak Dawes looking to shop around after being delisted by North. Yeah, I don't know. I think if North are delisted in, mate, you're probably not getting picked up by another club.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where he fits in as well. Where does he go? Like, who's...
I think that's the problem.
He's not going anywhere. Like, he's done. Like, just go play local footy, man, and have a bit of fun, I reckon.
VFL.
Come down and kill all, mate.
Yeah. There's a couple of the boys going down there.
Exactly.
Big Corey Ellis.
All good. Moving on.
We got the Swannies 16th, 5 wins. I like the Swannies. I like them. I didn't realise, Ben, you picked the Swans off percentage in the last round, mate. How do you feel about that, mate? You got the 4th pick down, not the 3rd.
I'm just happy we got a top 5 pick, to be honest. It's the first time in 15 years. So, look. I feel like the Swannies, they got so much potential. If Buddy's fit, he takes a main forward, sets Papley off. Got blokes like Heaney coming in. Callum Mills had a good year. Rampy coming back from injury. You still got Luke Parker, Josh Kennedy there with Rowbottom there. You got such a talented midfielder. I feel like they need a proper ruckman. Sinclair's meh.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I feel like their move to put Toddy McCartan in the back line actually worked really well in the last month for them.
100%.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing with forwards. Like most forwards that I've seen, like Wiedering started a lot forward, and Sicily started a lot forward. They get pushed back and they read the ball so well. So he did a really good job. And I think he only kept Charlie Dixon to, I think, 2 or 3 goals as well. So, I think they got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that one. I reckon they'll definitely improve next year, for sure.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah, 100%. I think they'll... Yeah, like I really don't have much to add to that this time. I think they'll be pushing for a top 8 spot, but I reckon they'll fall just short next year. But they're looking good.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's actually a really good assessment. That's how I sort of feel as well. Like they'll push, but they won't get there. But it'll be a good year still for them.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to your mob beach.
Look, I think we'll be all right. I don't think we'll make finals. I think we'll be that probably like 12th, 13th spot, probably sum us up. But like we had so much promise in the second half of our season with a lot of the young kids playing. So, I think we need obviously number 4th pick. My old man, actually, it's quite funny. He's got a picture of the Hawthorn team on the fridge from this year. I was having lunch yesterday, and he rips it off the fridge, puts it on the table, and he's just like, gives me a permanent marker. And he's just like, can you put crosses through names and ticks through names? What do you think we need? We'll just go through it all lunchtime. It's quite funny.
That's beautiful.
Big G.
Yeah, look, I think we'll be all right. But yeah, I think we'll finish around that 11th, 12th, 13th spot. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough, mate. I agree. Like hard to tell. Like you're obviously rebuilding, so
yeah. Clarko gets up to some magic work. You don't know. Might finish in 8th, but I doubt it.
You're honest, like you never know these days. Like you get everyone on the park, you get no injuries, anything can happen.
The thing I always look back to is the season Port Adelaide put together in 2014. They nearly made the grand final after they nearly came back and beat us in the prelim, but
I do.
Like the year before that, they stunk it up. Like, well, they were terrible, and the year after they made top 4. So
exactly right.
Obviously, I know the game's changing a lot, but it does say a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a huge thing, and if you just need the right players. If you get the right players and a good core and a good line, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. All right, now moving on to the Gold Coast Suns. 5.5 wins to the year. Yeah, like the Suns worry me. Like they've done this the past 4 or 5 years now. They start off the year well. They win a few games. Like everyone thinks they're back. They're going to do all right. Then they just seem to crumble. Like, yes, they were a bit more competitive this year. They were more competitive for sure. But yeah, Jez, as you just said, mate, down here.
They are. They're up and they go right. Like
I just remember watching Carlton Gold Coast. Like I was sure everyone was hyping up that game, and they were just so bad in that game. Like, I don't know if they're like that every week, but in the second half of the year, but yeah,
They just look tired. They were just tired.
Yeah, maybe they're not fit. I don't know, but like they can't be. They need to improve next year, in my opinion. Like they did improve. Their percentage was only 60 last year, and it was 90 this year. So that's a pretty substantial improvement. Like if they improve 30% again, they'll be top 6. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like Dane, I think Dane Swan tweeted out this year, it's okay to be shit this year because it is a shit year.
It's always next year, yeah.
If this is the year you want to be shit this year because you're still going to win a flag or whatever, but no one gives a shit about this year. This year's already out the door. So
yeah, and you look at and what you said, Russ. So their finishing record. So you look at the last 5 seasons. In 25 games, they only won one of the last 25 games. So they literally won 4% of the last 5 games. So they just it might be fitness thing, but also just might be just fatigue from the season as well. Like I think it's hard for teams that like are really young to go through a 18, 23 game season and just you can't be on, especially like. For 23 games, it's hard. So
I agree. Like that, obviously, they were definitely better this year. So hopefully they can be improving.
I think they took a couple of teams, really well. But that Carlton game, they just were not there. And I think also, who they versed? It might have been the Pies before. No, it was just the Bombers. I think before that. So they just weren't there. But I expected
the Bombers, mate.
The Bombers
finished one slot above the Suns. 1 win above the Suns. And what did they win? They only won 1 out of their last 8 or 9 games.
10 games, yeah.
1 out of their last 10 with a draw in the middle. Well, that's worrying. That's the worst thing. That's just as bad as North Melbourne almost. They bet North Melbourne by half a game in the last 10 games. So that's a worrying stat for the Bobbers. Like, I don't know where the Bobbers go to from here because Dado leaves, they've got no forward. Like, who's their target? Like, Stringer's their main target or Stewart.
Kale Hooker, mate.
They're probably the second or third forward at best.
Yeah.
They got Hooker and Hurley. Yes, they're good players, but they're getting old. Like in their midfield, all their players are just average. Like I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been mediocre for a while.
Wouldn't be surprised if they target Ben Brown.
Yeah, especially if Danaher's going.
If they know Danaher's going, they'll go hard for Ben Brown for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Or
absolutely.
Obviously, we'll get to GWS later, but I don't know where Jeremy Cameron's going. So
yeah, for sure. Essendon might also be losing Adam Sard as well, so that'd be a big loss.
He wants to go to North as well.
That would be a huge blow for them.
Why does he want to go to North?
Money. It is money.
Oh,
that's the only reason.
God, yeah. Well, apparently the Blues are interested in him, but Carlton's interested in bloody everyone. So
we'll take anyone at this stage.
What's with North wanting to pick up halfback flankers?
Oh, mate, North will take anyone. They'll throw the checkbook at anyone they can get.
Right. Yeah, probably.
They'll chuck it at Josh Bootsma. Be naked in a club. Here you go, mate.
Just don't show it on your social media, mate.
Yeah, sure. Shit.
Yeah, but Essendon shambles. I can't see Essendon making finals for a while. So.
No, definitely not. Which is it's frustrating because, like you said, they don't have a great list, but a lot of their players aren't complete spuds either.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a relatively consistent team looking over the ground. So so you've got Tip and Woody and Heppel and a couple of those other boys. They're not terrible players. They're just not standouts. But when you think about you've got a whole at least 3/4 of the team who are they run pretty average stats. They should be winning more than a few games and more than one in the last 10 of the season. It's just
exactly.
What's going on?
They only won those games at the start of the year because they played the bottom 4 teams or something in that first 5 or 6 weeks, which is why they were in the top. So and
everyone shit at the start of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Worrying sides. I don't know how Ben Rudden's going to go. Interesting to see.
I don't. He's not the answer they're looking for. They're gonna probably get rid of him sooner rather than later.
Bring Hurdy back, mate.
Yeah. And what do you guys think about? So a lot of stuff came out about a lot of criticism around the players sort of laughing at halftime when they're down by 10 goals and stuff, and a bit of comments on Woosher and how he was responding to it and sort of having like an us, the coaching staff, versus them, the players mentality. Like, what do you guys reckon about that?
I mean, it's hard for Woodchuck because like it was his last year, so it's probably a bit hard for him to be motivated. But yeah, I think that was disgraceful for the players, especially Dyson Heppel. Like he's been injured most of the year. He comes in, his team's down by 10 goals. Like he should be giving the players the biggest spray of their lives at halftime. Like how could he be having a laugh? Like Richmond could have a laugh because they win every fucking game. So fair enough, they have a laugh in the huddle. But you are a basket case. You cannot have a laugh in a team huddle. Like for me, that was ridiculous. Like
yeah, I think coming from playing footy, and Jez are probably the same here, and he probably knows this as well. It's like I think the media just hypes it up so much. I know they're having a bit of a giggle or whatever. To me, I don't see it. Yes, you'd be copping a spray, but like I think it was Irving Mosquito was telling a joke or something. But like for me, I don't see it as like a huge issue. I think they're just trying to. It's like when you get told at halftime, it's not about the scoreboard. Let's go out there and have some fun. And I think that's kind of the mentality that they're just having a laugh. They just want to go in there, have some fun, and get something out of it. I know it's not a good look, but I don't see it as a big issue. And the media just hype it up more than it needs to be.
Oh, of course they do.
Yeah, that's a good point. There you go, Claire.
No. I was going to say.
Well, if Jez has done something wrong, Mick McGowan's given them a real hot spray. Yeah, I think they're trying to have a laugh. It's been a shit year, and they probably know that they've been bad. But I don't think a spray is going to do them like really any good, especially if they're down by that much. So I might as well go out there and have some fun.
Well, where I sort of go is, see, had John Worsfold, he was sort of not coaching, so he wasn't really seen as the head coach this year in terms of like he wasn't coaching. He might have been coaching on the boundary, but Ben Rutten was the main man, and yet at press conferences he was the one who was talking, and he was one. Oh, okay, go do this. I thought they could have just had Ben Rutten just do those interviews but also press conferences and stuff. And I just think he was just there for too long, and they probably should have got rid of him 12 months earlier. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. As Chloe said, really, and I agree with completely. Like they've got better than average players. They shouldn't be like this. Should not be where they are. Like they should be pushing for the 8. Like this should not be where they are. Like as much as we talk shit on them, like, and rightfully so, and all their fans don't like it as well. I think their fans are fucking fed up with it. Oh, they're not. we've got one that we know, but they shouldn't be in this position. They should be pushing for the 8. So I just. Whether it's a culture problem, whether it's just you accepting mediocrity as probably the next team above them has been for a long time. We'll just see what they do next year. Like if Ben Rutten can somehow save this club and get them into a finals, and they can win a final, if they win a final, well, there you go. You get them another 2 years. But
how they made the 8 last year is beyond me. Like I just forgot they made it. Like I couldn't believe it when I heard that stat a couple of weeks ago.
I don't know who. I think they had someone. They had a team like it was like really down to the wire. Like I mean, they had a team. They had to beat someone in the last round or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I was surprised they made it. But
yeah.
Anyway, they've got to become more ruthless. Like even with Joe Danaher, they should just be demanding an answer. Like how can they not know if he's going or staying now? Like I think that's a bit ridiculous. Like as if Joe Danaher does not know whether he's leaving or not.
I just
think they should demand an answer so that they can work out who they need to target as well.
It's funny. Sure. It's funny. A while ago, my cousin, he went on a cruise and he ran into Tom Mitchell's old man, and it was the year Tom Mitchell was at Sydney and the year after he was at Hawthorn, and my cousin's a Hawthorn spot, he actually asked Tom Mitchell's old man and said, "Do you know whether or not Tom Mitchell's coming to Hawthorn?" It was the year after, and it was already on the trade was already done, and he was already at Hawthorn, and that's when the cruise was. And he asked his old man then, "When did you know Tom Mitchell was coming to Hawthorn?" And he's just like, "I knew at the start of the year when he was playing at Sydney."
Jeez.
So it's when obviously clubs know where the players are going, but they just don't say anything until, which is fair enough. They don't say anything until like the last seconds.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the old Frios.
Fucked up ladder
Oh,
position.
did they finish that high up?
The Freos had a good year. They had seven wins. The Freos they
Okay.
had. So 7 wins, 10 losses. Not a bad year for the Fremantle Free. They had a
That's a little inside joke there. That's a little inside joke there. I love that. Speaking of our Robs, where is he? That is a good one. Our Robs.
Take over.
So yeah,
Oh, dear.
the Frios, who by the way have a really good page, the Frio Doctors page on Facebook, if you come across that. But 7 wins, 10 losses. Best first year coach, I reckon, in Justin Longmuir or Longmire, depends on how you say it. They've got tremendous upside. Rising star, Caleb Sarong. Just obviously that
Gunfire.
5. Yeah, they've got some really. I definitely reckon they will push for finals next year, and I think we could see them in a final series next year as well. But yeah, interested in. I mean, Chloe, what do you reckon? Because I think we've got the other two are incapacitated.
yeah, absolutely. Ben Tony Samaroff, that's always a good sign.
We just lost the plot.
We lost it. Look, Jez, I completely agree. Like, Freo have got some really good players, obviously some great young talent with Sarong coming up. I think absolutely, like, next year they're going to be really competitive. I mean, like, having watched them pretty closely when they played the Dogs only, last week? Oh, shit,
Last week, yeah.
Only
Fast.
last week. Like, they were tough. Like, it was a really hard arm wrestle, to get it from them. I mean, Fife's amazing. Gonna have him, leading up the side. I think they're gonna be really, really strong next year. I reckon they're making the 8 for sure, honestly. They just need to polish up a couple of bits of play and whatever, and I think they're gonna have a really, really good campaign.
Yeah, and I reckon Hogan at least he gets him. No, no.
You're fucking hopeless.
We're trying to run a real good show here, and you just I reckon Hogan. Hogan also is interesting as well because I do think he can be a really good player, but it's all on potential and it's just all on so he kicks 4 against 2 fucking North, whatever. But I think they also need actually no, Tabernar was good this year as well. Lob Lob's interesting. Lob's okay. He's just a fucking ruckman, whatever. But
could be better, but not the worst.
Yeah, but I reckon Justin Longmuir's got them playing a brand of footy that's really good. Took it up to a lot of really good sides. So yeah, we'll see what happens in 2021. I've got them pushing finals, and yeah, we'll see what's going on with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Russ, who was it? It was up.
They're still struggling, I think. So
Right.
we'll push on.
Are we moving on to the Blue Boys now?
Yeah, we'll just get.
Yes, we are.
So the Blue Boys?
Will you be present for that conversation?
Yeah, I'm good to go now.
Okay.
So the Blue Boys, they finished 0.5% above Fremantle. I don't know, hard to tell. Some good moments, some bad moments. So very frustrating moments. Got Marchbank and Curnow to come back, so hopefully, and if Vic Cripps next year, hopefully we'll improve our list. Obviously, Zach Williams to come in as well, so I'm hoping that will hopefully start to push us up into the 8. So, yeah, I don't know what you think, Jez. Yeah, a bit of a frustrating one, but yeah, hopefully we've improved. So, I guess you can't be that annoyed when there's been some improvement, but it's just a bit slow. That's all.
Yeah, I think we expect more as a club, and I think you can't have us going. Look, from last year, it's obviously an improvement, but it's not going to cut. Next year, it's just finals or bust. I think we just have to win some. We have to beat some quality opponents, and we can't, lose to all these sides respectfully. Sorry,
yeah,
we have to beat some big teams. So starts with Richmond next year, and then we just go from there, and then we just.
Yeah, exactly. We had surprise. We had players improve. We had Tom DeConnick. He surprised me this year. He improved a lot. He actually did really well. Honestly,
Tom DeConnick did really well. Yeah,
he did. He stepped up a lot.
Yeah, he came in. He picked it up a lot. Sam Moss stepped his game up a bit more. Setterfield improved. I mean, Gibbons improved. We had a lot of players improve.
Yeah, Pinnet improved. Yeah.
My fave.
Actually, he did really well. Like, he was a spud at the start of the season. He came along really well and played some really good games. So,
Yeah.
Marchbank to come back, Puna to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, biggest side for me is probably SPS. He needs to improve SPS.
SPS.
He's the slowest Indigenous player ever to play the game.
He loves his little 15-meter chip kicks. Like, it's just so frustrating. He toe pokes at the ball and it infuriates me so much. He needs to improve next year. Like, he has to improve. He was number 6 pick in the draft. He's played 4 years and he has not got any better. Oh, it really annoys me.
Yeah,
he needs to get better.
But he's just little dinky kicks. Like, he doesn't actually do it. Like, he just doesn't. I just don't rate him in terms of he obviously does. Like, he can get better, but he has shown nothing.
We lost him again. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I'm gonna quote this till the day I die, but I think Russo is sick of the respectable effort from Carlton. And look, I have to feel for you guys, seriously. I mean, like, there's just so much potential. When you guys play, you are so dangerous, but you're just inconsistent as fuck. Like, I don't know what team is going to walk out after each quarter break. Exactly. Seriously.
Like, the thing is, like, I think our best is probably better than any other team that didn't make the 8. But then our worst is just so bad.
Our worst is losing to Adelaide.
I'm trying to have faith, so hopefully next year.
Fingers crossed.
Also, since as well, the Blue Boys, they signed 10 players this week. So they had a big signing spree, the Blue Boys. So they signed on a couple of veterans. They signed on Murphy and Curnow.
Beautiful.
Awesome. A lot of people in the Carlton chats are canning Mark Murphy, which I don't understand that.
I don't get that. That's fucking stupid. I don't get that at all.
I actually reckon he was very good in the second half of the year. Like, I actually really rated his performance in the second half of the year. So, I don't know if you agree, Jez, but I reckon
100%. Yeah.
I reckon he's valuable to our list. I reckon we need him there next year for sure.
Why? Yeah. Why wouldn't we play him? Like, why would we just make him retire? Like, he's not out of form. He's not even close to being out of form. Like, Betts, I would have retired before him, and we know why Betts is playing.
Exactly right.
But what's
Also, veterans-wise, Levi Casbolt triggered his clause, so he's signed on another year as well. I reckon he'll struggle to get a game next year, Big Levi. I reckon he might struggle.
Yeah, there's too many cooks.
Yeah, you've got Tom Ducote now. You've got Charlie Curnow coming back. I think he'll be a good backup. Like, he's sort of drifted off a bit towards the end of the year. So,
Curnow, Mackay.
I keep forgetting about Charlie Curnow. I keep forgetting he's on your list because he hasn't played.
I know.
He hasn't played for about a year and a half. So
he's the great white hope.
Yeah, poor bastard.
Yeah, no, he's our saviour, mate. Charlie Curnow.
AC.
Yeah, good.
All right, we probably rambled on a bit about the Blues too much.
I mean,
that's all right. Better you guys get it off your chest so I don't have to hear it later.
We got the Giants one above the Blue Boys, 32 points. So what is that? That's 8 wins.
Yeah.
No good for the Giants this year. I think we've spoken about the Giants a lot. We spoke about them last time.
Yeah.
So.
With the team they've got, they should be making finals every year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, as much as it gives me personal joy to not see them make the finals, it just doesn't make sense that they're not. They've just played so piss poor.
It was good that Bulldogs and GWS game made the top 30.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Boyd's goal, I did see that. I was very happy because I thought, if that wasn't it, it was either that or Pickens' goal in an open square, I thought, from the granny in 2016.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was happy with that. It was good. Highly rate that.
Yeah, no. GWS team's too good to be missing finals, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
I know they don't have, like, a heap of experience, but they've got the best young list.
They have so much talent.
There's talent everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, go. You're right.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, you know how, like I was saying before with Essendon, they've got average players all across the field. GWS have, like, excellent players all across the field, as much as I despise them. It just literally does not make sense why they're not doing better. They just came out half-assed efforts. Like, the hungry teams absolutely destroyed them. It was just, don't know what's in the water down there, but
I actually don't know. Like, they've got an elite forward line. If you think of it, like, on paper, you got Jeremy Cameron, Finn Lace, and Toby Green. Then in the back line, you got Nick Haynes, Phil Davis, Heath Shaw. You got Zach Williams running off half back. And across the midfield, you got Josh Kelly, Whitfield, Taranto. You can't put a foot wrong in their team and they're missing finals. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
So,
They just don't start well. Their team just doesn't start
Well,
well.
what's
They
going on
just,
there?
they literally, they come out and it's like, I remember watching the GWS Sydney game. They just come out and they just don't want to play. And then they
don't
just,
want to move the ball. Like, they're just so stagnant.
Yeah.
that's another thing as
but
well.
that's it. They just don't want it. When you watch them play this season, they just don't want it.
it's like what Jess says every podcast. They don't play for the jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Chloe might have said that for me, but yeah.
100%.
That's a good point. You guys bring up like the fact that like their game style is just so chip kick. Like they've got the players they've got Whitfield and guys and Callie and all these guys that can actually kick the ball well. Talk about people who can't kick the ball at the Kangaroos. These guys can kick the ball well at the Giants, and they can actually play. And they're just literally just kicking it to the 30 meters out on like the biggest angle ever to their forwards. They're kicking it to Cameron when like he's got free on. They just it's just when they move the ball, they're a great team. When they chip kick and just don't fuck around for it, like why do you reckon they're getting smacked? Like it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So I reckon. I still reckon they'll make finals next year. Like I think they come back from this and actually go something. And Caniglio has a good year next year, and I rate them. So I don't think this season's an anomaly, and we'll see what happens in 20.
Yeah, I think it was an anomaly too. Like different environments, sometimes teams struggle, so they just might have been one of the teams that just struggled. So I think they move on from this year pretty quickly and just hope to. They need to bounce back next year though. They need to be in the top 4 next year. Honestly,
they're too good not to.
And they need to go. They need to go out and get a ruckman in the off season as well.
They actually do, yeah. They actually do.
Yeah.
Like, they can't just have Mumford just bashing into players because he doesn't win enough hit-outs. He doesn't do enough around the ground. Like they really need a ruckman. I don't know who, but just anyone other than Mumford.
Anyone.
I mean, Saucy Jacobs is gone. They just need they need an up-and-comer. Like, I think I heard this the other day. Like, they should go for someone like say like Sam Draper, for example. So someone who's an up-and-comer. They need to go for someone like that. Offer them as much money as you can, and then just like hope for the best. Really, I think like, if they want to win a flag, I reckon that's what they got to do.
100%.
Yeah. And who's the last team, Russ? Who have you got there?
Last but not least, mate, we got the Melbourne Footy Club. 9 wins for the year.
Oh.
I don't know. Like
they're another frustrating team to watch.
Yeah, talk about inconsistent.
That's so frustrating.
They call a lot of criticism, but like I don't know, like maybe they're just not good. They're just not good enough. Like, I don't know, they just. I don't. Their problem is they really need a forward. I reckon they should go for Ben Brown. Honestly, like I reckon they should.
Wiedemann's up and coming, and you got Bailey Fritsch there as well. But I think they need a big key forward to help. Because if they get a big key forward,
an experienced one.
You watch Wiedemann, he'd have a breakout year.
Yeah, I agree. Because like you got to remember, it's like they get a lot of inside 50s.
A lot.
They get a lot. Like even when they were
biggest problem is they can't hit a target in the 50. That is honestly their biggest problem.
Your backman playing as your main forward, it makes it hard. So, so I reckon if they could, they need to go aggressively for a forward. If they can get a forward, they'll 100% make the 8 next year, if not top 6. I reckon.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going the top 8 next year. Like, so it's improvement this season because they came from 17th last season. So you can say that's an improvement, but I don't think it's an improvement because they shouldn't have been 17th. I think they're better than 17th. I mean,
I agree.
And and their side has, it's literally sort of Carlton sort of set up and even GWS as well. Like, you don't know who's going to, so for example, like that Sydney game, and they had a couple of those games where they should have won those games. They should have cemented the spot in the finals.
Yeah, exactly.
And they lost them pretty comfortably and like pretty decisively. So you look at that team and you go, I think you got Fritsch and those guys down there who, if you could clone Petrarca and have Petrarca down as a forward and as a midfielder, and probably the defense as well. Why not? Like, that'd be perfect. But you can't. Yeah, like there's only so much he can do.
Exactly right.
Same as JWS, you can't fault their midfield. You can't fault their back line.
Yeah.
They got what? Who they have in the back line? May, Lever, 2 gun backs, and then you got
Rivers as well as decent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rudy's
you got-
got
Yeah.
Who else do you have?
Let me get
They've
it
got
up.
they've got a good back line, regardless.
They do.
Good back line, good midfield, and the problem is just their forward line.
Yeah, exactly right. And then, like, I don't understand what's going on with their leadership group as well. Like, they're saying it was Viney got stripped to captaincy last year. They're saying he might move, but I don't know. I think he should, like, surely he stays. Like, he had a good year. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why they stripped the captaincy off him, but obviously something happened and he couldn't shoulder the load. So, and to be fair, he was getting injured a lot previously as well. So,
Yeah.
good on him for being.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a really good year. I really like Viney. He's one of my favourite players. I like him. I really like how he goes in hard for the ball.
Yeah.
Definitely very tough. I think Gawn's a good captain. Like, you look at that side, and I think he's
Yeah, I agree.
good captain in terms of leadership.
Absolutely.
I think Jones will go. They might cut him this year. Like, I think Nath Jones probably done.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like, it's hard to sort of.
I think
I reckon he's done though. Like, I don't think they give him a 300 but I think he goes elsewhere and he'll get his 300 at another club, which is fucking stupid. But
he was just at a club that was so shit for so long. Sort of similar to Kate Simpson.
Simpson, yeah.
Such player, like such warriors, like so loyal and like.
Yeah.
But and they got to go before their sides probably start moving up the ladder, unfortunately. So
Yeah. If Jones does stick around, I dare say it's going to be the same as like, in a bet capacity sort of thing. He'll stay to, sort of help, sort of finish that sort of mentoring process and then probably hang up the boots eventually, I think.
Yeah, exactly right. Also speaking of Melbourne and Jack Watts officially retired.
Yeah.
Poor bloke. He really never recovered from that knock on Queen's birthday. As soon as he runs on the field, gets crunched. And he just copped too much media scrutiny for me. He wasn't that bad. Like,
that's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think where Nat Nui is now and where he is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But like they said, like Jack Watts was clearly the number one pick back then. It just happens sometimes. Like they just don't improve from that age. And like,
for sure.
Yeah.
If he was like, say, like a number 10 draft pick, everyone would be saying that he's had a half decent career. Like I think he's played like 170, 180 games. So he hasn't done too bad. So good on him.
I feel like he did pretty well when he made that move to Port Adelaide. I feel like just get players off the spotlight. He went to Port Adelaide, played his role, and then kind of hasn't probably played in probably like the last year and a half.
Yeah, he's been injured this whole year, so
yeah.
But I just think it was too much media scrutiny. Like, I don't think he was a bad player, but I think just the media and the way that sort of game happened. Like, I thought, I just didn't really rate how that happened. Like, I just didn't like it. Like, I just didn't think it was. I can understand why they did it. Like, it was sort of to go well.
Yeah, it was just stupid. Melbourne put him too much on a pedestal. Like, you can't debut someone in a game in front of 90,000 people. Like, it's a bit dumb. Like, the club was shit. Like, they probably would have only won one or two games before that game if they're lucky. So, like, I don't know. Probably a dumb move, but oh well, that was about 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think ago.
Yeah, I think like career-wise, I think he's had a good career. Like if you say to him he played 180 games across two clubs, it's like what else? Like obviously, Premiership would have been easy, but
he's actually get to 200 games. So
if you can get past the 100, 150 mark, I feel like you've done your role as a player. I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
agree. Yeah, I'm
I reckon
well, absolutely. Well, on average, an AFL player's career is only 3 years long.
Yeah, well, fuck. So he's done very well.
Yeah, very good stats.
That, so
yeah,
good on him.
Good on him.
So. All right, I reckon that's a.
That's all.
That's a wrap.
I reckon that's a wrap. I'm done. After the laughing fit, that's fired me out.
Can we? Because people aren't going to see the chat, and the few viewers that see it, can you just explain, Russ? Like, because
it's a real inside joke.
There's going to be two people cracking up on this.
Well, even Chloe and Jess don't know about the U part.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't there. I've heard a lot of it, but I just wasn't there.
So there was this guy I used to play basketball. He looked like the angry German kid. So like, you guys know the angry German kid, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I know you're talking about.
So and he was just the weirdest. He was just the weirdest bloke ever. Like he was so weird. And then one day he just like shot a shot, and Ben just yelled out. He was like, "You!" And then Ben and I were just like on the floor, like in tears. And then this is when like my dad was coaching, and he like screamed at us, like made us like run laps for like 10 minutes.
Laps.
So yeah.
No, what about explain the Freos and the Yowza.
How the Freo? I think was the Freos just we just heard someone just said the Freos.
Yeah, it
It was
I actually wasn't there. I think it was you, Jez, and Al Rob.
No. It was Russ and Al Robs. I wasn't even there.
Robs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
you
it
and
was a
Al
game.
In
Robs.
front of us, that kept saying the Freos.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Freos, and then one of them yelled out, Yowza.
Yeah.
And you and Al Robs love that.
Oh, mate, that was a day to remember. Don't remember the game at all, but definitely remember those moments. Those are memorable moments, Davey and Barrett.
Very memorable.
I love that. Yeah. Fucking Damo.
Oh. Anyway, Jez, finish us up, close us up.
Oh, well, yeah, that eventful end. Thank you guys if you guys made it to the hour and about 2022 of Talking Footy. We had a great time doing the show. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the chat and see you next week. Yeah, and we're going to be going headfirst in the fucking finals. So let's get into it. Finals.
See you later. Ciao.
Go the Cats.
Bye. Who the fuck said that?
Bye.